Welcome to the Soul Craft Your Life podcast. My name is Carmen Marshall, and I'm a life design and manifestation expert, a 7-figure entrepreneur, wellness educator, and a dance teacher. And I'm passionate about helping you create a magical and fulfilling life. Whether you want to discover your purpose, learn how to attract financial abundance, or create more health, balance, joy, and connection in your life, the Soul Craft Your Life podcast has got you covered. 1 part strategy and 1 part soul. Each week we explore both the practical and the spiritual with intriguing experts and fascinating human beings, all sharing their wisdom to help expand what we think is possible for our own lives. The goal? To help you create a life you love on your own terms that stems from your soul. Let's dive in and discover what this life has to offer each of us. Hello, gorgeous souls. Welcome to episode 23, How to Become More Magnetic. Now, what does that really mean? Well, when we become more magnetic, we become more attractive to our desires, and we actually become more attractive to people around us as well. But it's not just charisma. It's literally the energy in you changes and shifts so that you become a magnet for the things that you want. And the quickest way to do that is to really deepen our self-identity. So really knowing who we are. And you see it with people when you see someone that just seems so grounded, so sure of themselves. And it's not that they're not kind and compassionate, because they are as well. And they care about other people too, but they don't care what people think. So they don't go around hurting people. They're also careful of how, what they say, how it lands, but they're not concerned about what people think. And when you live life from that space, when you're like, this is who I am, this is what I want in my life, and you show up 100% in your identity, you become magnetic. And so I want to help you with that today. So this is going to be a 2-part series. Both of these episodes are going to be shorties, so they're going to be very short. I'm going to talk about 4 things in this first episode, and then in episode 24, I'll go into the final 3. And it's all to help you become more magnetic, so energetically you become a magnet for the things that you desire. So number 1 is knowing your authentic code. Now, what the heck is authentic code? There's different names for it. So one of the ones you're probably most familiar with is your core values. I also like to call your authentic code your soul code. But basically what it is the things that most drive you. What are the most important things to you in life? Now, I go into authentic code in most of my courses because it's such an important concept, but I want you to go away from this episode at least knowing the basics for your core values. So the easiest way to do it, at least to get the basics, is to write down 15 to 20 things that are really important to you. So let me give you some ideas. Things like maybe health, freedom, family, connection, honesty, integrity, intimacy, travel. So it can be things that are quite big, like freedom, health, wealth, relationships, but it can also be characteristics like integrity, communication, fun, humor. So the things that it can be a big thing, or it can be more the things that you like the characteristics of. So just write down 15 to 20 things, and then you want to call it down to 10. And then you want to call it down to 3 or 5. Now, that can be pretty hard. And one of the things I do in my courses, I help you really understand how to figure out your most important core values. But for now, just do this in a journal. It will get you really close. Now, from those 3 to 5 things that you determine, this is so important because once you know the 3 to 5 things, it's going to help you with 3 things. Number 1, you're going to be able to make decisions more quickly, and decisions that are right for you. So when you have a decision about a particular career path to follow, or in a relationship, or in should you take this holiday, you can look back to your core values and you can say, does this match my core values? And if you listen to podcast 22, I talk about how in this position that I thought was just an amazing position, it ended up not being the right one. And number 1, it was in conflict with my number 1 value, freedom. So it would have been much easier for me to make that decision earlier on in the process, but you'll hear in episode 22 my whole process for that. But this is why it's so important to know our authentic code, Because whether we make that decision quickly or it takes us a little bit longer, we can always go back and say, okay, this does or does not fit with my authentic code. And that will help you be so much happier in your life, and it will make sure that your decisions are the right decisions. And oftentimes that you can make your decisions more quickly as well. Number 2, why your authentic code is so important is you can keep revisiting your 3 to 5 things to make sure that you're living your core values. Because if you're not living your core values, it is just a recipe for a disaster. Because obviously you're not going to be happy if you're not living your core values. But you would not believe the amount of people who don't know their core values and also are not living their core values. And I have a beautiful story of one of my dance students. So her and her husband have 3 beautiful children that have just left home. So they're now have lots of time. And she realized that one of her core values, health, she was not living it because she'd been, taking care of the kids and really helping them. But she was like, I know nature abhors a vacuum. So before it gets filled with something else, I'm going to right away put in health, start moving, start taking classes, start doing weight training, focus on my nutrition. And so she made a really conscious decision that health is one of my core values. I need to make sure that I'm actually living my core value. So this is really important because so many of us can actually be wondering, why do I not feel happy? Well, if we don't know our core values, our authentic code, our soul code, and if we're not living them, how can we possibly be happy? So again, knowing your authentic code will help you make decisions that are right for you. And it will also help you make sure that you're living your life in a way that is most resonant and will provide the most fulfillment and meaning for you. And then finally, and this is so important, is that when we know our authentic code and we really step into it without apology, this is where you become magnetic. And this is so important. Without apology means not caring what people think. Now, again, this doesn't mean walking around and not caring about other people. It just means being 100% showing up for what's important to us. Now, I'll give you an example in my life. Years ago, so when I was about 27, that was like a huge transformation in my life. And I started realizing that money was not bad. But when I was starting to realize this, I still had hangups on, it can't be one of my core values. How can money be one of my core values? Until I started shifting that it's not just hoarding money and having it in the bank that is important to me. It's what money can do. It means that I can live anywhere in the world. I can create the programs that I want to. I can create my passion businesses. I can have a bigger impact. So money is just a vehicle for helping me be able to impact in the ways I want to at a much larger scale. And once I realized that, I could step fully into wealth is one of my core values. But 25 years ago, that was very scary to say wealth is one of my core values because I had this feeling that people would judge me or that money can't be one of your core values. But once I fully stepped into it, that's when I started creating wealth. So this is why it's so important to know what's important to you and step into it unapologetically. This is your life, your precious life. And no one can tell you what should or shouldn't be important because you have your own reasons. You have your own drum that you need to walk to. So I cannot stress the importance of knowing your authentic code and then really stepping into it without apology. It will help you make better decisions. It will help you make sure that you're living your life in alignment, and it will help you be so magnetic. And again, think about that person who walks around and they're so certain, they're so charismatic, they're so sure. And the people that I love also are kind and compassionate, but they know what they believe in and they really stand up for that. Number 2 of how to be magnetic, and from that sense of really knowing yourself and being secure and grounded and strong so that we become magnetic for our desires, is to have a spiritual practice. Now, a spiritual practice can be completely different for everyone. It doesn't have to look the same. It shouldn't look the same. It has to be something that helps you feel connected to yourself and to something bigger. Now, whatever that is for you, it could be God, it could be universe, it could be spirit, it could be goddess, it could be nature, whatever that something bigger that you can feel connected to is. For me, I relate to it as universe, spirit, consciousness. But again, it can be anything. You just want to think of what makes me feel more connected to myself and more connected to something bigger than me. Hi, lovely soul. It's Carmen here, and I'm interrupting this episode to tell you about my brand new free manifesting guide. So, do you feel a little stuck when it comes to manifesting? Maybe you've been dabbling in this world of manifestation, but it's just not flowing. Or maybe you're just an inch away from your dreams, but you can't seem to break through. Or perhaps you're brand new to manifestation and you're 100% ready to tap into your superpowers, but you're not quite sure how to get started. You are not alone. We all have our moments of doubt. And here's the truth. We all encounter a few sneaky reasons that can slow us down. And so I've just created a brand new guide, and it's called the 7 Sneaky Reasons You're Not Manifesting. And more importantly, what you can do about them. I talk about common manifestation hiccups, practical steps to reawaken your manifestation mojo and start turning your dreams into reality now. So, to get you started or back into your manifestation flow, go to carmenmarshall.com/7, like the number, sneaky, SNEAKY. So again, /7 sneaky, and I'll put it in the show notes too. Drop in your email and I'll send you the free guide straight to your inbox. Okay, let's get back to the podcast. What helps me remember my divinity? And this is really it at the end of the day. What helps me connect to the divine and myself? Because we are one and the same. The divine is us. So think about what that is. And I'm going to give you some examples. Some people like meditation. Some people like yoga. Some people like to journal, go to church, read the Bible, do acts of service, get out into nature. Mine is, and this is my spiritual practice of choice, is dance and nature. So those are the 2 things that make me feel so connected to something bigger and so connected to myself. So when I dance, that's where I feel my own divinity. And I just feel so connected, again, to myself and to something bigger. And also when I go out in nature, same thing. As soon as I'm out in nature, I'm just like, oh my God, literally. Or, I can even be looking out my window when I'm doing dishes and see the moon or see something beautiful and feel connected to that something in nature. And it's that sense of awe that makes you feel so much more expanded, and it really connects you to your divinity. So I want you to think about, what is it for you? And again, don't think about what you should be doing, okay? What somebody thinks, this should be what connects you. It has to be what works for you. And again, it could be cooking, it could be pottery, it could be painting, something where you lose yourself and you just feel connected. But you have to have something that helps you dial up your own divinity and really feel connected. All right, so think about what that is for you. Again, for me, it's dance. That's my spiritual practice of choice, and nature. I love journaling as well. I used to be a huge meditator. I don't do that as much now, but that was a pathway for me in my 30s for about 10 years. So it really just depends on you, but something, again, that really makes you feel connected to you and to something bigger. Number 3 is time alone. Now, this is connected to the spiritual practice in a way, because your spiritual practice could be the time that you have alone, but I like to regard it as something separate. So it's almost something that you do in addition, but it doesn't have to take up more time. What I do is I just go sit on my couch for 3 to 5 minutes. And it's time where I don't have my phone. I don't have anything with me. I just go sit there. And what's really interesting is when I actually disconnect from everything around me and just have a little time on my own, I find this is where ideas come in and I can really feel myself. And again, this is what's part of being really grounded and having that certainty in you, is to have times where you can connect just with you and to actually love yourself enough, to value yourself enough that you will take some time out of the day to do that. Because what's interesting is we can think that we're so busy, we've got so much to do. But when we take time for ourselves, we're actually saying, I value myself enough to do this. And this increases your magnetism because you're saying, I matter. So sitting on a couch is one of the things that I love because I can just do it so quickly. I can do it a couple of times a day. I can do it at least once a day. Other practices that are really good is you can lay down on your bed or even just on the floor with one hand on your heart and one hand on your solar plexus and just breathe. That's another way to connect to self, especially if you're not used to connecting to yourself. That's something very physical and tangible. I used to do that a lot, actually, like in my 40s. And now I actually just go and sit on my couch. Like I find I can just like very quickly tune in. And that's all I need sometimes is just that quick little space away. Now, why is this important? This is again where ideas can come in, guidance can come in, thoughts can come in. Oh yeah, I need to do this. Oh yeah, what about this? Oh, that's a great idea for a course. And it's just the time where, again, you are increasing your magnetism because you're saying, I am worth having some time for just me. So number 3 was time alone. And then number 4, which is also connected to number 3, is listening to the pings and the intuitive hits that come in and taking aligned action. So when we have a spiritual practice, when we know our authentic code, when we're taking time for ourselves, this is where you'll find the pings or the intuitive hits, which is the direct way that your subconscious and the universe talks to you. They will come in so much more easier. And these are the things that will guide you to your manifestation, the things that you want to create. Now, they can also happen when you are washing the dishes, taking a shower, going for a walk, and you want to listen to those pings and those intuitive hits whenever they come in and take aligned action. But I find when I take that time on my own where I'm not doing anything, they come in like crazy. So this is why I like to have time alone as a whole separate category. And again, it doesn't have to be something that takes a lot of time, just 3 minutes where you just go and sit on your couch. And I want to really stress this. We can feel like our lives are so busy, but what is more important than taking time for ourselves to really know ourselves and then know what we're here to do and really step into our purpose and really have that impact that we all came down here to not only learn who we are, but to step into the thing that we're meant to be doing. And that is what makes you more magnetic when you know who you are and you know your purpose. And that also comes if you're like, oh, I'm not sure what my purpose is. I have another episode, I'll put it into the show notes. I think it's episode number 3, where I teach you how to find your purpose very quickly. But we are all here to completely know who we are and completely know our purpose and what we're here to do. And these are ways that can not only help you with that, but also fully live into your purpose as well and become more magnetic. Have that certainty, that groundedness, that internal power that then makes you magnetic for your dreams and makes you very charismatic as well. And when I say charismatic, again, I don't mean from the standpoint of, likes on social media or people like adoring you. I just mean that you are compelling because you have a strong inner magnet, a strong inner sense of yourself. All right, so let's just review very quickly. The next shorty will have the final 3, but these 4 I want you to play with in the next couple of weeks. Knowing your authentic code, and I would plaster it everywhere. Like, what are your 3 to 5 things that are most important to you that you want to live your life by? Stepping into that without apology, making decisions by it, living your life with your most important 3 to 5 core values. Having a spiritual practice, and if this is new to you, even just start doing it 3 to 4 times per week. Taking time for yourself every day. So valuable. And this is the honest truth. If in the course of our day, we don't have time to take 3 to 5 minutes for ourselves, we have to change something. And then number 4, listening to those pings and the intuitive hits that come in. The former 3 things will help you create the space for that. And then taking aligned action on them right away. So when something comes in, call this person, go to this cafe, do this thing. Take aligned action right away because that's the universe and your subconscious directly speaking with you. And they're the little nudges to help you actually move forward with your manifestations and the things that you want to attract into your life. All right. I hope that is so helpful. As always, I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear your questions, anything that you want more clarity on. And remember, you are here to fully know who you are and what you are here to do. This is for all of us. All of us have a very special frequency, a very special reason why we're here. And you have your own. It's always going to be connected to the things that you're most passionate about, the things that you're curious about. But taking that time to really understand who you are and step into your purposes and your passions, there couldn't be anything more important, because this is what will not only help you live a more full and meaningful life, but it will help you make an impact and help others as well. I will see you on the next podcast. I love you wherever you are in the world, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for listening. And if you enjoyed this episode, I'd absolutely love if you left a review on iTunes. It really helps me to get the podcast out there to support more people just like you to create soulful lives. And as a thank you, I'd love to send you my 20 personal affirmations for manifesting an aligned, magical, and fulfilling life. To access this freebie, simply send a screenshot of your review to soulcraft@carmenmarshall.com, and I'll send you my favorite affirmations and mantras straight to your inbox. All my love, and I'll see you on the next episode.